human family thinks I'm an ordinary cat. And yeah, I meow a bit, rub against a few legs, look soft and cuddly, you know the drill. But all that's my cover. Average cat by day, above average detective extraordinaire by night. That's right, I solve crimes. And up until now, I've had a good gig. I solve the tough cases and I get results fast. My motto: no case too small, no problem too big. It's printed on my business card, real classy. Anyway, things were looking pretty good up until a few nights ago. I was taking care of business as usual when the office door opened. Time stopped. I found myself looking down the barrel of a snub-nosed 22. That's right, a gun. But I digress. I started my business about a year ago. My office is located around the corner from Phil's Fish Franchise. It's small, but it does me just fine. My first client was a tabby who'd lost his collar. It took me all of 10 minutes to solve the case. The family dog snatched it, some kind of rivalry motive. I questioned the dog. I could tell by the way he kept looking at his bowl that he was the perp. After a few minutes of interrogation, he sang like a bird. It went something like this. So, Fido, where'd you snatch it? My name's not Fido. Yeah, you're all Fido to me. Where'd you stash it? I didn't take any collar. Who said anything about a collar? I said with a smile. You did, didn't you? No, Fido, you did. Why does the cat get a new collar? I'm just as cute as he is. Yeah, and Monday comes after Sunday, I said, as I pulled the collar out from under his bowl. It was a girly thing with rhinestones and a silver bell. If I were that cat, I would have thanked the dog for taking it, but there's no accounting for taste. After that, word got around. My client list grew longer than the cat food aisle at the local Stop and Shop. I solved a missing person, a missing hamster's case. The darn thing got stuck in its habitat and was too embarrassed to let anyone know where it was. Between you and me, hamsters aren't known for their smarts. Ever met a hamster named Einstein? I didn't think so. Then there was a case of mistaken identity back in January. I solved that one in record time. As I mentioned earlier, I get the goods. That's why I get paid the big bucks. My work keeps me in kibble, and not that cheap brand with Sylvester on the label, but the kind in the foil pouch with the pretty Persian on the package. I'm a sucker for a pretty face, and she's a real looker. I have her photo from the kibble package framed on my office wall, which brings me to last Saturday night. On this particular night, business was slow. The Santa Ana winds were blowing desert air hot enough to curl your tail and petrify your nose. The whole neighborhood was on edge. I was just about to close up and go home when I heard someone come into the outer office. I have a cute little calico named Fluffy who comes in a few times a week to help with filing and answering the phone. She buzzed me and said,
Sam, someone here to see you. I told her we're closed, but she's insisting on seeing you anyway. You want me to send her on her way?
It was late and all I wanted to do was go home, have a milk nightcap, and sleep on top of the family birdcage. But on the other hand, it's never smart to turn down work. What the heck, I thought. I told Fluffy to send her in. The door opened and in walked the Persian from the kibble package. Meow. Are you Sam Sparrow? She asked, her voice smooth. That's me, sweetheart. Unusual name for a cat, she purred, as she curled her tail around her size 2 paws. Look, dollface, it's late and I'm tired. We could go a few rounds discussing my family history on cracking wise, but what say you we cut to the chase? What brings you in? She studied me for a minute with her cool green eyes. They were the kind of eyes that would make a cat do crazy things, like climb a tree, catch a bird, and then just let it go, just for the heck of it. My name is Mittens. My friends call me Mitzi. I have a job for you. I knew she was trouble. My head was telling me to show her the door, but my mouth was asking her what the problem was. So what's the problem, sister? I asked, slipping a catnip toothpick between my teeth. Well, Mr. Sparrow, she began. Call me Sam, dollface. Okay, Sam Dollface. I need you to find something for me, something important. And what would that something be? I asked as I rolled the toothpick to the other side of my mouth.
Oh, it's just a cat toy, a stuffed falcon.
A cat toy, eh? I said, my interest dwindling.
Yes, it's the new toy I'm to be photographed with on the next Frisky Business kibble package. I brought it home, but when I woke up this morning, it was gone.
Listen, sweetheart. I'm sure losing this toy is upsetting, but I've got better things to do than chase after a squeaky toy. I'm afraid the answer is no.
But you don't understand, Sam. This toy is a one of a kind, a prototype. It's priceless. There are no others like it. If I don't bring it to the set tomorrow, I'll lose my contract. It'll destroy my career. I'll never be able to set foot in Hollywood again.
I'm sorry, Mitz, but the answer is still no. I knew this cat was no kitten. She played helpless, but she was tough. Tough like week old fish sticks. Tough as a chew toy that's gone through the dryer on high heat. Tough as well, you get the picture. She wasn't going to take no for an answer, not without a fight.
There's just one more thing.
And what would that be? I asked, rummaging around for a fresh toothpick. Yeah, she was tough, all right. When I looked up, she was pointing a small black pistol in my direction, the barrel of which would have given the Holland Tunnel a run for its money. You don't take rejection too well, do you, sweetheart? I said, trying not to swallow my toothpick.
What do you mean? She asked.
Then eyeing the gun, she said,
Oh, this is just a toy. It's harmless, but it was left in my cat bed as a warning. When I woke up, the Frisky Business Falcon was gone, and this gun was in its place. Oh, Sam, I'm in danger. Someone's out to get me. I'm scared.
I looked at her, and I knew I should say no. Like I said, she had trouble written all over her. Trouble from the top of her fluffy head to the tip of her fluffy tail. I had enough to do without playing nursemaid to a kooky blonde packing a toy gun. On the other hand, she was in some kind of danger. Or at least it looked that way. Call me a sucker, but I can't say no to a damsel in distress. Okay, Mitzi, I said, leaning back in my chair and putting my paws up on the desk. Let's start at the beginning. Tell me everything.
I was born in Missoula, Montana, on a small ranch.
Not that far back, I said, wondering if she'd been dipping into the catnip. Tell me about yesterday. What did you do? What happened? Anything out of the ordinary?
Well, I went to the Frisky Business Studios for my photo test shots, and nothing unusual happened. They checked lighting and makeup. The advertising agency gave me the new toy. They wanted me to bring the Falcon home so I could get comfortable with it. It helps to be completely familiar with important props before a shoot.
Who was there? Anyone out of the ordinary?
No, just the usual group. My agent, the photographer, the art director, the Frisky Business CEO, my sister.
Your sister? You didn't mention any sister, I said, sitting up in my chair.
My sister is always with me. She's my personal assistant. She makes sure things go smoothly for me on set and off. Always has. I'd be lost without it.
I thought about this. I thought good and hard. If Mitzi had a sister, maybe she'd noticed something or someone out of the ordinary that Mitzi didn't. Mitzi would have been busy with the photo shoot and preoccupied with the prototype toy. Her sister would have been on the sidelines, a perfect vantage point to observe what others might have missed. Your sister live close by?
Yes, we live together. Why do you ask?
Come on, Mitz, I said, getting up, stretching my back legs and arching my back. I want to meet this sister of yours. She may have noticed something you didn't. I also want to investigate the scene of the crime.
Okay, Sam, whatever you say. There's just one more thing,
she said as we walked towards the door. Yeah, and what would that be? I asked as I locked it behind us.
It's my sister. She's a little high-strung, the nervous type. I haven't told her what's happened. I would rather you didn't say anything about the gun or the missing toy. If she finds out, she may tell my agent. It could be awkward.
Look, Mitz, I said, ready to call it a day and show her the door. I don't have time to play charades with a ditzy dame.
How did you know?
She exclaimed. Know what?
Her name, of course. Ditzy.
Trouble was coming my way. I could feel it. I followed Mitzi down back alleys and through parking lots. We eventually made our way to the swanky side of town. It was the part of town where a cat could live like a lion. Tall trees, deep lawns, and ponds filled with goldfish the size of pomegranates. She led me down the drive of an enormous, 3-story Tudor-style number that would give the Taj Mahal an inferiority complex. Holy mackerel, I thought as we made our way to the back door, equipped with a cat-sized entrance. Mitzi went in first. I followed. Nice crib, I said, looking at a living room the size of an airport terminal. This spread all yours?
I live here with my sister and my human family, of course.
Interesting. Let's take a look at the scene of the crime. Where is it?
This way,
She said, leading the way to a room off the kitchen. It was a pink and gold boudoir, complete with a cat-sized canopy bed and a full-length mirror trimmed in gold. Nice, I said, looking around. You share this with your sister?
No, of course not. She has her own room.
Of course she does, I said as I walked the perimeter.
What are you doing, Sam?
Mitzi mewed. Looking for clues, sweetheart. It's what I do. Where exactly was the falcon when you went to bed last night?
Right here,
She said, pointing to a satin pillow resting on her pink and gold bed. I took a look at the pillow. There was a tuft of fur on the lacy edge. It was coarse, gray fur. This yours? I asked Mitzi.
Of course not,
She protested.
My fur is silky, shiny, the color of 24-karat gold. How could you even think I have fur like that? I can't imagine how that horrible fur got into my room. I'll never be able to use that pillow again.
Calm down, sister. No need to get all hot and bothered. It's my job to ask the hard questions. You may not like it, but that's the way it is. Let's go meet that sister of yours, I said.
No need to go anywhere,
A voice said from the doorway.
I'm right here.
It was a deep, no-nonsense voice. A voice that said it could take care of itself. I looked to the doorway and saw a sleek black cat. Holy fish sticks, what a looker. This cat didn't seem like the nervous type Mitzi had described. I wondered what was up.
Who's your new friend, Mitzi?
She purred.
Why don't you introduce me? Ditzy, this is Sam Sparrow. Sam, this is my sister Ditzy. Hello, Mr. Sparrow. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Ditz. Call me Sam, I said.
Hello, Sam. I know most of Mitzi's friends. She's never mentioned you before.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking of moving to the neighborhood. Mitzi's giving me the tour.
You're the second visitor today,
Ditzy said. Really? Who else stopped by? I asked, careful not to sound too interested.
A horrible rat. I think his name is Lewis. He was only here for a minute or two. When he saw me, he left in a hurry.
It's not the only thing he left, I said, holding up the gray bit of fur.
Yeah, well, I tried to catch him, but he was so unsavory, I let him go,
Ditzy confessed.
Oh, Ditzy, why did you touch him?
Mitzi shuddered.
I don't know. My feline instincts took over, and before I knew it, I had him by the neck. I came to my senses and released him. I've been bathing ever since.
Come on, sugar, I said, heading for the door.
Where are we going?
Mitzi asked, running to catch up. I smell a rat, and I think its name is Lewis, I said, out of earshot of Ditzy.
But he didn't take the falcon. It was already gone when he got here, she said.
It's a start, Mitz, and we have to start somewhere.
Okay, Sam, whatever you say.
I had a hunch as to the whereabouts of Lewis. We headed for the sewer. The city sewer ran directly under Mitzi's mansion. It was easy to see how Lewis had gained access. Mitzi and I slipped through the grate and made our way down. I've been in some pretty disgusting places in my line of work, but the conduit under Mitzi's mansion gave them all a run for their money. It was dark, it smelled bad, and there was water everywhere. This is no news, but cats aren't too crazy about water.
Sam, Mitzi said in a low voice, I don't like this place.
Not many do, Mitzi, but it's a part of the job. From the darkness came a high-pitched voice. It sounded like claws on a chalkboard.
Sam Sparrow, that you?
Yeah, it's me, I answered.
You got a lot of nerve coming down here.
You got a lot of nerve making me come down here, Lewis.
How'd you know it was me?
Lewis whined. No one has a voice as irritating as yours.
You got a lot of nerve insulting me like that,
Lewis said, his voice even higher. Yeah, well, I get paid to have a lot of nerve. Why don't you act like a real rat and show yourself?
Why should I?
Because it would be a lot better for your health if I didn't have to find you. Now get out here where I can see you. I've got questions and I want answers. Lewis stepped out of a dark corner. He was thin, with long, yellow teeth and terrible breath. His eyes darted back and forth. He was a regular bundle of nerves, this rat. What were you doing in Mitzi's room this morning? I snapped.
It's none of your business.
I could make it my business, Lewis.
And I can make your business my business.
Lewis said. You wouldn't like it. The pay's too low. Now talk.
Who said I was there?
Ditzy, Mitzi's sister.
Okay, it went like this. I heard Mitzi had something valuable, something worth stealing. I figured if I could get my hands on it, I could sell it. But when I got there, it was gone. Ditzy made a play for me. That's when I lost my fur. She's a killer, that one. You should see the bald patch on the back of my neck. I barely escaped.
Who told you Mitzi had something worth stealing?
Tiny Paws, but it won't do you much good,
Lewis warned. Why is that? I asked, noticing a rumbling sound deep inside the tunnel. Lewis lit a match. The flame illuminated the dank sewer. It also illuminated the fact that Mitzi and I were surrounded by a couple hundred of Lewis's rat friends. Like Lewis, they had yellow teeth, red eyes, and smelled like rotten eggs and something even I'm too polite to mention.
For once, the rat is gonna triumph over the cat.
Sam, I'm scared. What are we gonna do?
Mitzi cried. When I count to 3, jump to that upper ledge, I said under my breath. The rumbling grew louder.
Okay, boys, pound 'em. Don't leave nothing but Sparrow's toothpick.
The rats started advancing. The sewer started to shake, and I yelled, 1, 2, 3, jump! Mitzi and I leapt to an upper ledge as a torrent of water rushed through. Lewis and his gang were swept away. I knew they'd be back. Rats are like that. They always come back. Bad pennies always do. Mitzi looked at me with those big green eyes and asked,
What now, Sam?
Now we go see Tiny Paws.
I'd like to stop at the spa before we go, get cleaned up. That sewer was horrible.
Sorry, sweetheart, the spa will have to wait. We can't take the chance that Tiny Paws may skip town.
Okay, Sam, whatever you say.
I knew Tiny Paws lived on the east side of town. If there was a scam to be had or a quick buck to be made, you could bet Tiny Paws was at the bottom of it. Tiny operated out of an abandoned warehouse near the docks. We made our way east. Okay, Mitz, I said as we neared the entrance to the warehouse, let me do the talking. Tiny Paws is unpredictable. I don't want to spook him.
Okay, Sam.
We entered the building, and a pit bull came loping forward to meet us. Get ready to say your last words, cat, 'cause they're gonna be your last words. Took you a few minutes to work that out, I said. Before you try to figure out another threat, tell Tiny Paws I want to talk to him. Oh, careful, cat. You better watch it. I'm gonna do some damage if you don't, watch it. Look, don't think too hard. You might hurt yourself. Tell Tiny Sam Sparrow is here. Lewis Rat sent me. The pit bull trotted off into the warehouse. A moment later, he was back. Tiny wants to know what's in it for him. Tell Tiny I have the inside track on fresh salmon heads from Phil's Fish franchise, and my client here can get him a supply of frisky business for life. Tiny is a dog. He don't want no fish heads, and he sure don't want no cat kibble. Word on the street is Tiny is a foodie, and I'm offering gourmet fare. A voice sounded from the back.
Send them back, Figment.
Sigmund? I asked. Family name. The pit bull grumbled as he led us back to an overturned wooden crate that served as Tiny's headquarters. Tiny Paws reclined in the center of the crate on an old pink silk pillow. Apparently, this was my day for pink. His bodyguards, a dachshund with a crooked ear and a beagle with an overbite, kept watch on either side of him. Tiny Paws was so named because his paws were the only thing tiny about him. He was the fattest chihuahua in the history of the breed. He looked like a beached volleyball. In addition to his significant girth, Tiny had a lisp. It made for an interesting combination.
So, Sam, what brings you to this side of town?
Word on the street says you tipped Lewis Rat to a potential payday at my client Mitzi's expense.
Don't be ridiculous.
Tiny lisped as he ate bacon bits from a can.
Why would I do such a thing?
Maybe you did it because you thought you could get Lewis to do your dirty work. Maybe you thought you could sell the goods and make some dough. Enough dough to keep you in bacon bits for life. Maybe you conned Lewis because you're too lazy to do it yourself. Maybe you...
Sam, calm yourself. Let me make things easier for you. Let's just say I have something around town. Something about a certain prototype toy. Maybe the word was, it's worth big bucks. Maybe a certain someone wanted to make life tough for your client. Maybe make her lose her contract. What would it be worth to you to learn who that someone is?
Tiny asked this question as he licked the last crumbs of bacon bits from his paws, a disgusting sight, even for me.
Who would want to ruin me? Mitzi cried. Everybody loves me. I'm the frisky business model. I'm adored wherever I go. My fans friend me on Cattree Social. I have 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. I'm writing my memoir, and I've already pre-sold 1 million copies. I can't believe someone would want to do this to me. Please, Mr. Paws, tell me who it is.
Mitzi made a step toward Tiny Paws. The dachshund and the beagle snarled.
She's making me nervous, Sam,
Tiny said, his eyes bugging.
When I get nervous, I tinkle, and when that happens, I clam up.
Mitzi, what did I say? Leave this to me.
Sorry, Sam, I got carried away.
I did a double take. Did Mitzi just lisp? I turned back to Tiny Paws. His eyes were still bugging, but he was a little calmer. Now, Tiny, don't go simple on me, I said, as calmly as possible. I can promise more fresh fish heads you could ever eat from Phil's Fish franchise. And Mitzi here can hook you up with a lifetime supply of frisky business. But you gotta tell us who put the word out. Who has it in for Mitzi?
All the fresh fish heads I want.
Yeah. Throw in a tail or two. You have a deal. All right, you drive a hard bargain, but it's a deal.
Well,
Tiny said, struggling to sit up,
I can tell you that the person who wants to ruin your client did.
There was a commotion at the entrance of the warehouse, followed by a loud crash. Tiny's crate was tossed to the side. We were face to face with the biggest Doberman pinscher I've ever seen. The dog barked, snarled, looked all business. He was wearing a t-shirt that said, "Sea Spot Bite."
Sorry, Sam, I'm out of here, Tiny cried. I suggest you do the same. Oh, darn, I think I tinkled.
I watched with amazement as Tiny Paws rolled away. He disappeared through a hole in the wall, followed by his minions. I'll give him one thing, he was fast. The only problem was, Mitzi and I were left to face a Doberman that looked like a Mack truck. "Any last words?" the Doberman growled. It was the second time that day I'd been asked that question, and I was getting tired of it. Real tired. "Yeah, I have a question. Where'd you get a shirt like that? Do you have to order it online from the Dumb and Dumber site, or did your mother buy it for you on the first day of school?"
Hey, cat, don't get cute with me.
I'm paid to get cute.
Sam, I think he means business.
Relax, Mitz, I got this covered.
Take a good look around, cat, 'cause I'm the last thing you're gonna see before you go to that big litter box in the sky.
This guy was starting to get on my nerves. I had better thing to do with my day than trade potty talk with a dog wearing a stupid shirt. Tough guy, huh? I said, slipping a new catnip toothpick between my teeth.
I don't think you understand, cat. I'm gonna take you out, clean your clock, knock you into tomorrow. You get it?
You know what I get? I get that you've been staying up late nights watching too many bad movies.
What's wrong with that?
Enough of the chit-chat. Who sent you?
You think I'm gonna tell you that?
Yeah, I do.
And why would I?
Because I say you do,
Mitzi said, pointing her toy gun at Spot. Like I said, this cat was no kitten. She was tough and full of surprises, no two ways about it.
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on, what are you doing? Who said anything about a gun?
The Doberman whined. She just did, Spot. Now tell me who sent you.
I can't do that,
Spot cried, collapsing on the floor in a sniveling heap. You see, Mitz, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Now talk, dog, or the gun will do the talking for you. The Doberman started to cry. It wasn't a pretty sight. His face screwed up, his body shook, and his nose ran. I've seen preschoolers with more backbone. I have a suggestion. Change your shirt to C-Spot Fold, I said. The Doberman howled even louder. It was pathetic.
Oh, Sam,
Mitzi said.
This poor fellow is so upset.
Look, Mitz, you can't have it both ways. A few minutes ago, he was going to give us a one-way ticket to Nowheresville. You were packing a piece, you called his bluff, and I'm real proud of you for that. I say we squeeze him and see what we get. Okay, Sam, you're the boss. Tell me something I don't know, I said. I turned my attention to Spot. Now make like a canary and sing. I can't. She'll hate me. She'll never talk to me again. What did you say? I asked. I said I can't tell. I thought for a minute and something clicked. Come on, Mitz, I have an idea. But Sam, where are we going? Mitzi said as she ran to catch up. Back to your place and hurry. We left the warehouse, leaving Spot to deal with his emotions. We were back at the house in record time. When we got there, Mitzi was surprised to see the cat door hanging wide open. That's funny. I could have sworn I closed that door when we left. Mitz, this situation doesn't look good. We walked into the house. Which way to your sister's room? I asked.
Follow me, Sam.
Mitzi led me down a long marble hallway. It was cold like a meat locker and went on for miles. Family portraits lined the walls. There were 2 photos of Mitzi and Ditzy as kittens, and the rest were framed portraits of Mitzi. Mitzi at her first debutante ball, Mitzi accepting her first Cat About Town award, Mitzi winning the Miss Frisky Business Beauty Contest, Mitzi sitting on a moon rock next to Neil Armstrong, Mitzi wearing horn-rimmed glasses and speaking at a United Nations conference. It was all there in the pictures. All anyone had to do was look.
This is a room, Sam,
Mitzi whispered, indicating the door to Ditsy's room with a nod of her head. Good work, Angel. You stay here. I pushed the door open and took a look inside. The room was a mess. The bed was unmade. Clothes and cat kibble strewn everywhere. Ditsy was in the corner packing a small leather suitcase. Going somewhere, sugar? I asked.
What?
Ditsy said as she turned around to look at me.
What are you doing here?
I asked the questions, Dollface, and I'll ask one now. Going somewhere?
What do you care?
She said as she emptied her makeup tray into the suitcase. I get paid to care. Now answer the question.
Well, yes, I'm going on a short trip, a little vacation. I need a rest.
She needed a vacation, all right. Ditsy was nervous, real nervous. Her eyes darted back and forth, and she was biting her claws. I looked around her room and noticed a plane ticket on the edge of the dresser. I grabbed it. I wouldn't call Casablanca a short trip, I said, holding up the ticket.
Give me that, she hissed.
Not till you come clean, Ditz. Where'd you stash the falcon? That stopped her in her tiny cat tracks. She stood blinking at me. I could see the wheels turning. She was trying her best to fabricate a story, but I wasn't having any of it. I put my last catnip toothpick between my teeth and said, Look, Ditz, I know the score. You've lived in your sister's shadow for years, and you've had enough. You got all hot and bothered and thought, what's the harm? Take the bird, ruin her career, and teach her a lesson. But if you keep that falcon, you're going to have bigger troubles than a few lonely nights of reruns and nobody to call. If you keep that falcon, the frisky business folks will make sure you're holding a one-way ticket to the big house. Ditzy sat on her cat bed and looked at me in disbelief.
How did you know?
It was something Spot said. He wouldn't come clean, but he did say, she'll hate me. That got me thinking about who had the most to gain if Mitzi's career was ruined. Walking down the hallway to your room, I counted 20 photos of Mitzi to your 2, and that can't be easy.
No, it's not,
Ditzy said between tears.
It's always been Mitzi, Mitzi, Mitzi. I just wanted somebody to notice me for a change. I could have been great if I'd been given a chance. A real contender, you know. Instead, I'm a second-rate assistant in a 2-bit business.
It's always the same old story, and I never get tired of it. I chalked this case up as solved. If I played my cards right, I could wrap this up and still have time for a late-night yowl with the guys. It's over, sweetheart. Now hand over the falcon, and we'll forget this whole thing ever happened. She pulled the toy from a hidden compartment in her leather case. Handing it over to me, she said,
I'm glad it's finally over.
That makes 2 of us, sister, I said.
It's over, all right, Sam. Now give me that falcon.
I turned and saw Tiny Paws in the doorway. He was lying sideways on a skateboard, eating French fried onion rings. He licked his paws and smacked his lips. I worried I might never have an appetite again. I was trying my best not to look at Tiny when the dachshund entered the room. He was rigged with a harness so that he could pull Tiny around. I looked long and hard at the dachshund and said, "I guess you drew the short stick." The dachshund looked at me, shook his crooked ears, and growled. Talkative, too. Get a lot of dates?
I said quiet. Give me that bird,
Tiny yelled. Bits of onion flew about the room. Give me one good reason why I should, I said, flicking an onion bit from my fur.
I was hoping you would say that,
Tiny said as he snapped his fingers. The beagle entered the room. He had Mitzi by the scruff of her fluffy neck.
Mitzi!
cried Ditzy.
Ditzy! cried Mitzi. I'm sorry, Mitzi. Can you ever forgive me? Oh, of course I can, Ditzy. I didn't know you were so unhappy. Can you ever forgive me? Of course I will.
Quiet!
Tiny Paws cried, his eyes bugging.
You cats give me a pain and you're making me nervous. When I get nervous, you know what happens. Now, hand over that bird.
I weighed my options. I had the falcon, but the beagle had Mitzi. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it didn't feel good. Wasn't even a warm rock. Sometimes that's the way it is. Life gives you a can of dog food, and there's nothing you can do but eat it. I hated to give the falcon to Tiny Paws, but I had no choice. Okay, Tiny, you drive a hard bargain.
Sam, no!
Mitzi cried. Relax, Angel, there's nothing we can do. You're more important than a lousy squeaky toy.
Oh, Sam, that's so sweet.
How many times do I have to tell you cats to be quiet?
Tiny Paws cried, his eyes bugging and his face going bright red.
Now give me that bird.
I was just about to hand over the falcon when a loud crash sounded from the doorway. Spot came loping into Ditzy's bedroom crying, "Ditzy, forgive me!"
Spot, Ditzy cried. They've got Mitzi.
Spot lunged for the beagle. The beagle threw Mitzi into Spot and made a play for the door, but his foot caught on the edge of the skateboard. Tiny Paws, the dachshund, and the beagle went flying. They landed in an ugly heap in the middle of the room, covered in soggy, half-eaten onion bits.
Oh, darn, I think I tinkled,
Tiny cried. Mitzi, call the boys in blue and tell them we have some garbage that needs collecting.
Okay, Sam, whatever you say.
I was beginning to like the sound of that. It was Saturday night, and I was back at my desk putting the finishing touches on my report of the theft and recovery of the frisky business falcon. I heard the outer office door open. Fluffy buzzed in and said,
Sam, she's back again.
Send her in, Fluff, send her in.
Hello, Sam,
Mitzi said, her voice cool and smooth. Hello, sweetheart.
I wanted to thank you for all you've done.
It's all a part of the job, dollface. By the way, how's your sister?
Oh, Ditzy is teaching yoga and transcendental meditation at the animal shelter. She's very happy. She and Spot are dating, and I have a new assistant.
That's great. Glad to hear it.
Sam?
Yeah?
What do I do if trouble finds me again?
All you have to do is whistle, sweetheart. I'll come running. You know how to whistle, don't you?
Well, actually, a cat's lips aren't designed to whistle. It's anatomically impossible. I could call you on my cell phone. How about that?
I looked at her and wondered what I was getting myself into. I knew I should show her the door, but instead I was asking if she had plans for the night. Call me crazy, but I'm a sucker for a pretty face. Whistling is overrated in my book anyway. Case closed. Report respectfully submitted by Sam Sparrow, Private Eye. The end.